information as of this past week, Alex. I must warn all of your listening audiences. I plead with you. Okay, I'm going to begin with the first one right now. This is so important. Gold and silver. I came on Alex Jones' show 2.5 years ago, and I said that I had just talked with the elitist friend of mine, and I said at that time you could buy gold for $700, $800 an ounce. And I pleaded with you. I begged you. I almost got on my knees over the radio program and said, you've got to go and protect your family, because this individual said to me, I was flabbergasted. I was literally beside myself one day on the telephone when he told me all the things that they had in store. And you'll remember what they were. He said, within 2 years, you'll not recognize America. After 2 years, you'll be so poor, you won't be able to do anything about it. He kept on using the expression 2 years. And I came on Alex Jones' show and told you that I had asked him, all right, in light of what you just told me, what can I do to protect my dinner table, my wife, and my son? I've got to do something. And he said to me, he said, Chaplain, there's only one way you're going to protect yourself. He said, you can't trust real estate. He said, you can't trust anything that's written on a piece of paper. He said, there's only one thing you can trust, and that is our currency. And I said, what is your currency? He said, gold and silver. And he told me where it was going. He told me it was going right to where you see it go right now, and you haven't seen anything yet. And I came on the Alex Jones show back when you could buy gold for $700 an ounce, and I pleaded with you and I begged you to protect your assets, to get out of your 401ks, to get out of your IRAs, to get out of the stock market. And I said, there's only one place that I've been told by the elite that you can protect your household, and that's in gold and silver. And those of you who didn't buy it back then, you're going to be paying $1,400 an ounce for it now, and you haven't seen anything. This past week, it was made plain to me that gold and silver is going through the roof. I must give it to you right now. Here it is. I need to start, first of all, with what happened 1 week ago with the COMEX Silver Exchange. Now, please, those of you who may not be familiar with this, very briefly.
Well, the giant mints are all running out of silver right now because the real silver market is much higher than the paper silver market that they've been suppressing. But go ahead.
It's happening. It's happening right now. And I was warned by my elitist friend this past week, and I'm going to tell you where it's going. The COMEX Silver Exchange holds gold and silver for the super wealthy of the world. They hold it for China. They hold it for Russia. And they give them a piece of paper saying we have it in our vaults. They announced a week ago that on hand they have 107 million ounces, but they have contractual obligations in the amount of 720 million ounces, and it happened. Alex, it happened 1 week ago, 1/7/11. It happened. There were 4 individuals who had gotten wind of all of this that are super wealthy people. They are not dealers. They withdrew. 4 different people withdrew 1 million ounces from the COMEX Silver Exchange, and I'm sure you must recognize what happened within the past 7 days. Please, this is right now, folks, the first day of January. The United States Mint announced that in the previous 30 days, they had sold 2,221,000 ounces of silver. This is an all-time record for any month in all of history. Something very scary is going on out there, Alex, because in the first 12 days, folks, are you getting this? In the first 12 days of the month of January, the U.S. Mint announced that sales of silver have surged 50%, and in the first 12 days of January, the Mint sold 3,407,000 ounces of silver.
No, that was the headline, record silver sales, record physical silver sales, and now a federal judge has ordered the private Federal Reserve to turn over gold and silver documents where they've now been caught artificially suppressing the price with paper or naked shorting.
gold and silver is going through the roof. It would not surprise me. Now, I did not. My elitist friend did not say this. I'm predicting personally on based on what I've been told in the past week's time. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if silver was not $50 an ounce by February the 1st.
Okay, but let's go back. Let's go back though, Lindsey. Let's go back to what the new stuff he did tell you. I mean, what did he specifically say? Was it on the silver, or what were the other issues? What's the new stuff?
Yeah, he did deal with gold and silver and pointed out the fact of what's happening. And the COMEX Silver Exchange is madly rushing to try to find every ounce of silver it can find in the world. And as a result, prices are going up. I'll go to the second item. The next item is food. Oh, this is so important. As you remember, I told you earlier that Mr. Fromm had said to me some while back about what is based in relation to food. And then I told you back about 2 years ago, there'll be no shortage in the grocery store shelves, but you won't be able to afford it.
All right, Lindsey, stay there. Let's come back and get into the food situation, the new intel you got from this globalist insider who's inside the inner circle, prisonplanet.tv, Infowars.com. I'm Alex Jones. This is our final segment with Lindsey Williams. He's going to be back with us in the third hour on Wednesday at 1 o'clock Central, and we'll have more time to get into more detail on all of this. But Lindsey just kind of freaked me out during the break because I've done my research. I've called these people separately. So did Dr. Monteith years ago, but we couldn't tell you who these elitists were. People were like, oh, sure, Lindsey. But then as they saw more and more things come true, the credibility exploded, and now he's told you Ken Fromm, because he was authorized to give Ken's name out, the former head of Atlantic Richfield, after he died. But he's got another Mr. X, in fact, both of them are in his book, who's even more high-powered, but now is talking to Lindsey more because he's aware of all of the hubbub we've caused. And you were about to get into food, Lindsey, but you dropped a big bombshell personally for me, and it creeped me out even more. Because I know we've had Rolling Stone here interviewing us, and Nightline, and MSNBC. I mean, we are big. We reach millions of people a day. But that really creeped me out when you told me that they are specifically upset about Mr. Jones. Tell me exactly what Mr. X told you.
Well, within the past week's time, I have had probably, I think, 5 different communiques from this individual. And Alex, you asked me, you told me I could say it, so I will. They are upset over you. I mean, they are very concerned. You are reaching masses of people, Alex. You definitely are putting a major emphasis on things that they don't necessarily like to be touched. And in one of these communiques this past week, they mentioned the fact that so much difference is being made in the minds of the American people, and a lot of it because of you, that they've got a problem on their hands, and they don't know exactly what to do with it. They got a problem with the president, and they also have a problem with you. And as a result, they may have to make a back step. You see, there's only a handful of them, and yet they know there are millions of us out there. And if the American public begins to wake up too fast, you're waking them up too. And whenever one of these individuals actually mentions you and what you're doing, I know it was kind of like back 2 years ago when the individual contacted me and said, Lindsey, you're saying too much. You better back up a little bit. Well, they haven't contacted you yet. But you positively are making an impact on America. And, folks, you've got to listen to everything you hear Alex Jones say every day, because the elite know he's out there, and they know that the American people are waking up because of it. So,
well, Lindsey, let me just throw this in briefly. I mean, more than even that, I need people's prayers, as you know, Pastor, and I passed the point of no return a long time ago. I am committed. I actually, over the years, have been approached, but by networks and people, basically, to sell out. But I mean, I can't sell out on my children and my family. I mean, I would never sell out because I'm a good guy. But, I mean, if it was like Boss Hogg wanting me to sell out, I mean, that's one thing. These people are really wicked and really evil and really hurt children and whole countries. I'm not going to have my soul and who I am tied up with them. There's no way. So it's not hard for me to not sell out. I am completely opposed to them. I mean, if it was like, here's a whole bunch of power and money for little stuff, but see, that's how it starts. I might be tempted. I'm not even tempted, even at the point of threats. But if they do kill me, it underlines everything I've said. It highlights everything I've said. It puts exclamation points at the end. But I do hope listeners know We're almost out of time here. I can't wait till Wednesday. We'll have you on for 2 hours, Lindsey, if you can do it. Well, I know you've agreed to come on, but hopefully we can do 2 hours with you because there's so much to talk about. But you bring up an issue like this. I mean, all of us are in this together. And I've talked to a lot of high-powered people as well. They don't like what's going on. I mean, I've talked to people worth $500 million, $1 billion. I've talked to super high-powered people. They're scared too, but they say, well, what do you do? Well, people need to just say no to this. We don't have to have World War III. We don't have to have total depression. We don't have to have environmental carbon taxes. We don't have to do it. But, Lindsey, we're almost out of time, and I know you never even want to plug this stuff, but I'm going to plug it because over the years you've put out the book. You've got the website, reformation.org. You've got 6 DVDs in the last 3 years covering all of this. You've got the 2 new CDs, The Voices of the Elite, with all the latest information. It's all available at prophecyclub.com. Those great folks are putting this out for you. prophecyclub.com or 888-799-6111. But in closing, and then we'll talk to you again, because I'm coming back with this public service breakdown on the poisons that are in the water via the fluoride. Briefly, what is he saying about food? How much is it going to go up?
Food is going to go up very rapidly. You are going to be paying exorbitant prices, but yet the grocery store shelves will be full. There are positively 12 things that you must do immediately, and I've added a new one to them. I'm calling it 13 things now. You must prepare your family's medical needs. Now, I'm going to touch on this on your program this week. Oh, folks, please, you've got to know what the elite have in mind. They have a cure for cancer. And you'll hear it on my CDs.
Well, I mean, what's even crazier about all of this is
their physical needs.
I mean, they're also trying to set up these death panels. They're trying to the socialized health care. But I really want to get into this whole dollar devaluation, the food situation, all of it. Lindsey Williams, when we talk again, let me say bye to you during this break. I'm going to put you on hold because we're about to go to break here. Well, actually, we're going to break in a few minutes. But Lindsey, specifically on the food, though, because when you say they may take a back step, we're already seeing oil race up, but then the EU and others started freaking out. I mean, Lindsey, what do you see happening?
Oil has gone up 6 cents a gallon right here where I live in the past week. You are going to see this same progression continue right on through for the next 6 to 9 months until it gets to $4 to $5 a gallon. As far as food is concerned, you are going to see escalating food costs as you have never seen before, not because there's a lack of food, not supply and demand. This is going to merely be because the dollar is devaluating so quickly, and you watch crude oil prices, and you'll know the devaluation of the dollar and the progression of the elite's program as to exactly where they are. And whenever you see silver prices going on up the way they are in the next few weeks, you likewise know that it's not the silver that's going up. It's the dollar that's devaluating, regardless of what the Federal Reserve says. They're going into their they really have escalated their program. The Federal Reserve now is borrowing $100 billion every 30 days just to handle the interest on our debt, and with this sort of escalation, the elite are able to accomplish everything they want in devaluing the dollar, which is going to show up at the grocery store shelves in the form of much higher prices for your groceries, whether it be produce or store shelf, canned goods, whatever it may be. That's the reason I plead, I beg, I get out on my knees and ask you, go to the grocery store and get 6 months supply of food because you can afford it right now. You
Absolutely. Look, we already...
From now, Alex.
We see the big mega banks getting 0% interest, but we see interest rates on houses going up, credit card interest rates going up. I mean, this is the beginnings of Weimar Republic-style inflation unless we say no to the global debt, no to the derivatives bubble, no to Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Bank of England. It's us or them. They plan to implode society, to consolidate power and control. We need to stand up and say no. Lindsey, we're going to break here in a moment. I want to talk to you during the break, so please don't leave us. We're going to have Lindsey on for an hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. Coming up on the weekday show on Wednesday. The show is 11 to 2, but we go into overdrive a lot of days. 11 to 3, it's all simulcast as well at prisonplanet.tv.